Mission Impossible, the Final Reckoning movie review. Guys, welcome to Mirror Domains, and I'm going to tell you what's good and what's not so good about Mission Impossible, the Final Reckoning, coming in at 80% on the tomato meter, 90 by the audience. You can see that a lot of people really liked this movie, and it's for good cause. Because, hey, if you saw the trailers for this, you know that, Tom Cruise always brings it. He always puts his body on the line for these things, and it shows. It shows on the big screen, and it's totally worth seeing that on the big screen with the big sound. The action in this is top notch, man. It's just, he always delivers. Tom Cruise always delivers. Okay, so my impressions of it were that it comes in a little bit too long, 2 hours and 49 minutes, but the pacing is fairly well done. So it goes by pretty fast. But by the end of it, it's like, wow, did it have to be 3 hours though? I don't know. The cast in this is fantastic. Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg are back. Hayley Atwell returns, and she's awesome. Asai Morales is the bad guy. Palm Clementieff, Henry Cerny. Now, my worry about this was that because it's been a couple of years since we saw the first part of this, that it would take a while, or they might bore us with a lot of exposition in the beginning to catch us up to speed. But it was done well enough, and it felt organic enough that it wasn't cumbersome, right? We had to remember who the bad guy was, that it was like AI robot kind of Jarvis, not Jarvis, more like Ultron kind of thing. And if you found that kind of AI thing was not that menacing of a bad guy, because it's a bad guy that doesn't really have any feeling to him, right? It's just this entity, they call it. And we know what it is. We know that it's Skynet, and it's basically that form of what they're trying to use, and it's going to launch a nuclear war, and he's got to try to stop it before things get out of hand. And they use flashbacks in this to other films where it's done in such a way. Oh, remember why this happened? Well, it's because this was setting up this event that's going to pay off in this movie. So all of the flashbacks I thought were really well done, and it did really cool ones as well. So if you like the third movie there, or the fourth one, it does all these nods and like, oh, okay, now we know why that happened. And it really felt like this one was going to be like the final Mission Impossible. And I think I'm done with it. I think I'm okay with this one being the last one. Even though it did kind of leave a little bit of a taste that you're like, well, there could be more. There could be, maybe, I don't know. Like, how much more does Tom Cruise have to do with his body and risking everything to give us entertainment, right? Let's go over to the score sheet here and start filling in some numbers and see where I'm going to weigh in here with my my score sheet. Acting, directing, and story out of a possible 2 points. Cinematography and score out of 1 point each. And this is where we'll get to some of the criticism, the serious ones, where you'll be like, well, I don't know if I'm going to like that or not. Acting, very, very good. It's an ensemble cast. But is there anything in here that's like Oscar worthy? No. Is there one performance in here that's like, you guys, you got to check it out all the way for that? Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1.5 because of Tom Cruise. There's no doubt about that. He's really good in this. And then it's the supporting cast all around him that you know that these movies are made around the action set pieces. And it's really hard to create a story narrative around that. But it was really cool to see some of the returning people from previous installments come in and kind of like close off their circles, close off their arcs. And I like that. So I'm going to give 1.5 for that. Directing. Well, we know that all of the technical aspects are done very well. The sound design, the action sequences, the cinematography, the framing is all well done. It all comes down to the execution of this story. And I do believe that the execution of this story is fairly well done. It is fairly well done, but could it have been just a little bit tighter? Could that story have been refined? I do believe it could have been. And I'll explain what I mean here, that there's a lot of exposition. There's a lot of people just sitting down and talking. explaining to the audience here what the situation is. All right, we know that the bad guy is the ambition to destroy us with nuclear weapons, and now we're sitting in a room and talking about it. Now we're going to go over here and sit in another room and talk about how we're going to attack him. And then it's situations like that, right? And it's like he's constantly being interrogated by other people. Okay, we're in this position and we have to be in this position, otherwise this can't happen. And it's constantly explaining to us instead of just showing us. And I believe that works for maybe 1 or 2 times through, but this happens multiple times throughout the movie, and I do believe that that's going to be a bit of a problem for some people. That's where this movie, I think, may suffer upon repeat viewings, where it's kind of like, okay, yeah, we know this, just get on with it. You're going to be with your little fast forward button going, let's get to the next action sequence. So I reserve the right to come back to this story for right now, but cinematography and score are out of 1 point each, and I'm going to give cinematography a full point. The score is really well done, like the musical score. It's serviceable, and I might reserve the right to come back to that one as well. But the cinematography here, guys, yeah, it's just breathtaking. Like they went out of their way to put cameras on planes and in positions where it's kind of like, okay, this is what we need to do to get the shot, because we are really going to put Tom Cruise on the edge of a plane here. And when you see that on the big screen, you're just like, holy cow. There's a big underwater sequence with subs as well, where it's like the saturation, the color palette of him going through the submarines interiors are it's breathtaking. Like look at that shot. That's amazing, right? Yeah, there's the underwater shots. Like cinematography here, visual effects wise, it's all well done. And there's those rooms that I was talking about that everybody's talking about, and this guy too. He comes back. It's an interesting story for sure. I think that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. Let's go over to the tomato meter again and take a look at some of the snapshot reviews, because I don't think I'm going to be as high as the audience, but I might be in the ballpark of the critics. Let's take a look at what some of them are saying. The Atlantic. Even when the plot kicks into higher gear, the final reckoning never quite settles into the cheerfully goofy groove that propelled the franchise towards its peaks. Austin Chronicle didn't like it. Holy hell! Having to sit through nearly 3 hours of MI, making like Ethan Hunt is the Messiah, is not just exhausting. It's just it's a total misread of what makes these movies so fun. What a bummer. So I don't know if is he a Messiah? Well, he does complete the impossible. So, I mean, well, yeah. What else did you want? What did you think? Let's go down to the audience scores. Engaging storylines, spectacular cinematography. For my taste, the action sequences were too long. After a while, they did not add anything to the story and stopped being exciting. 4 out of 5 stars, though, so they still liked it. A little slow at times, but a good watch overall. And the reason why I take a look at these snapshot reviews, guys, is because you can see here that it's echoing everything that I've been telling you about my criticism, right? I'm not looking for, like, validation when I do this. I'm just looking for corroboration of, like, okay, other people's opinions are saying this as well, so that you guys can understand that, oh, I'm getting a good read on this, right? You can trust what I'm saying. I noticed this part about the synopsis here from the tomato meter. Critics' consensus. Gargantuan in action, runtime and scope, the final reckoning is a sentimental send-off for Ethan Hunt that accomplishes its mission with a characteristic flair for the impossible. Audience members say, mission accomplished. And I think that's pretty much the way that I think about it too. If this is the final one indeed, I'm okay with that. But as I said, maybe it left a little bit of a taste for more, because it was just a fun time at the movies. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Guys, did you go out and see it? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And let's wrap up my score sheet here, because we're sitting at about a 5. The watchability factor is out of 2 points each. Or 2 points. So, hey, if you like the other movies, you'll want to check this out in the theater. If this were on the screen again, you will want to watch it because of all the action sequences. We're sitting at a 7 out of 10. I am going to bump up that score because the score is good. The score is good. So we're sitting at 7.5. And I think that's good. I think that's about where I'm going to end. It's hard for me to give a lot to the story because the characters themselves, like even the surrounding ones like Palm Clementiev, they become very, like, you want to spend more time with them, but you don't really get to because it's already so long, right? That's a bit of a drawback for me. And it took about 20 minutes just to get to the opening titles of this, which is like, by the time it started, holy, the Empty Man movie. Remember that? That took like 23 minutes. This is in contention as to one of the longest opening sequences before we actually get the dun, 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 dun. Kind of, it's like, okay, wow. You almost forgot that that they were going to do that for this movie. But when it's all said and done, guys, it's a thumbs up for me for Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. As I said, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and we will talk about it. Hey, if you like this kind of thing, come join us here on Mirror Domains, because we do trailer reactions for the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer and It, Welcome to Derry. Fubar Season 2 trailer's up, and as well as that one for Superman, the second trailer that looked really awesome. We got full movie reviews for Final Destination Bloodlines, Fight or Flight, Clown in a Cornfield, movie reactions for Tenants and In Flight, full series reactions for Andor, and occasionally throughout the week, sometimes we do some movie news headlines. So, come join us here on Mirror Domains, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy your week.